بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ودخل معه السجن فتيان قال أحدهما إني أراني أعصر خمرا وقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا تأكل الطير منه نبئنا بتأويله إنا نراك من المحسنين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah, we have gathered in the house of Allah again around His blessed words. The part of the story that we have reached now, Yusuf alayhi salam becomes the victim of the plot of the women, and as a result, the ministers, the high officials, they decide that in order for themselves and their families and their wives to be out of this scandal, it is best to just put him into the prison, cast him into the prison. So he is imprisoned for an alleged moral crime. Even though they knew that he was innocent, but to remove stains from their clothes, they cast him into prison. وَدَخَلَ مَعَهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. And with him, when he was entering the prison, with him entered two other inmates. And before we go to the story inside the prison, if we just reflect on what has been going on through the life of Yusuf alayhi salam so far. He was thrown into the well, and then he had a few years of good life, even though away from family. He was growing up in the minister's house, and then he is accused again with this charge of immoral crime. And now he's thrown into a prison. So this young man, he doesn't get out of one trial, and he is now in another. And this is the sunnah of trials in our life. And this is how trials and tribulations come into our life. It is not a one-off experience, that it happens one time, and then all our life will be good. It doesn't happen like that. Our lives, and especially the believers whom Allah loves, it is a series of trials with some ease in between. Trial, ease, trial, ease. And each time a trial ends, ease comes, the next trial is higher, greater than the previous one, more difficult than the previous one. And one after the other, it goes on till our life ends and the final ease of paradise comes, inshaAllah. May Allah make us among them. وَدَخَلَ مَعَهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. So two other inmates got into prison with him. قَالَ أَحَدُهُمَا. One of them said, إِنِّي أَرَانِي أَعْصِرُ خَمْرًا. I see myself in a dream. I'm having this repeated dream. I see myself making wine, pressing wine. وَقَالَ الْآخَرُ إِنِّي أَرَانِي أَحْمِلُ فَوْقَ رَأْسِي خُبْزَ تَأْكُلُ الطَّيْرُ مِنْهُ. I see that I'm carrying some bread on top of my head and birds are eating from that. And these two prisoners, as the Mufassirun said, they were imprisoned with the charge of plotting to poison the king. So, they are saying, Arani, I see myself, like repeatedly, I'm seeing myself having this dream. So they approach Yusuf alayhi salam with the interpretation of this dream and say that, Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We we see you as one of the muhsinin. Can you please interpret this dream for us? We see you among the muhsinin. We see you among the good doers. Muhsinin literally means the one who does ihsan. Good doers. We all know the main storyline, but these details are what we are going to focus on. When they say that inna naraka min al-muhsinin, we see you among the good doers, can you please explain this dream to us? What does this say about the situation of Yusuf alayhi salam or the attitude of Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison? He is in the prison and he stands out from all other prisoners. His character stands out. His works stand out. And muhsinin means who does ihsan. Ihsan also means to do good to others. So he is there helping people out. Even though the situation, it's just adversities after adversities, it did not change the attitude. It did not change the morals that he had. He was preserving those and he was acting upon those. And they must have seen that this guy is not like other prisoners. He seems to have deep insights. He's a spiritual guy. So he also maintained that spirituality. He maintained his ibadah or his uprightness, moral uprightness, and also especially helping others. So that's why they thought that this guy is approachable. He was warm. So they approached him. And Yusuf alayhi salam, he took this opportunity. He says, قَالَ لَا يَأْتِيكُمَا طَعَامٌ تُرْزَقَانِهِ إِلَّا نَبَّأْتُكُمَا بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. He took this opportunity as an opportunity of da'wah. He says, okay, I'm going to give you what you need, what you want. I will tell you the interpretation of your dreams before even your food arrives. I will give it to you. But let me tell you a few things before that. He wants to give da'wah, but before that, he makes sure that they are not bored and he doesn't, keep them waiting. Like, we asked for this, why don't you tell us already? So he assured them that I'm going to tell you. Not like, brother, can I speak to you for 2 minutes and start giving a khutbah? No. People are not ready for khutbah all the time. So he tells that, I will tell you the interpretation of your dreams before the food arrives, next food arrives. And then he takes that opportunity and connects the interpretation of dreams to his faith. And then, in order for him to do da'wah of his faith, he says, ذَلِكُمَا مِمَّا عَلَّمَنِي رَبِّي. This knowledge that I have, this is from what my Allah, my Rabb, my Master has taught me. You see me as a good person. You feel that I'm spiritual. You see that I'm doing good. And that's why you feel that I can interpret dreams. Yes, I have that knowledge. And what is the source of all this goodness that you see? All of the knowledge of interpretation of the dreams that you see? What is this from? This is from my Master. So he is giving an introduction to his faith, not hypothetically, like on a theoretical way, but on a practical way. He starts with his story. And there is so much wisdom in that. ذَلِكُمَ مِمَّا عَلَّمَنِي رَبِّي. He starts his story. إِنِّي تَرَكْتُ مِلَّةَ قَوْمٍ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَهُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ كَافِرُونَ. I have left a nation, I have left some people who don't believe in Allah at all. And they don't believe in akhirah. They don't believe that good deeds have rewards. They don't believe that sins have punishments. They don't believe in all of that. And I have left them. I believe in akhirah. I believe that good deeds will be rewarded. He gives an introduction of his faith. وَهُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ كَافِرُونَ. وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ. And I left them and I followed the tradition, the faith of my father, Yaqub, Ishaq, and Ibrahim. So he presents that he has a prophetic lineage. He presents his credentials. And the knowledge he has, it is not just, he did not learn it from any sorcery or just by himself. It has a divine connection. He is proving it. مَا كَانَ لَنَا أَن نُشْرِكَ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. It is not for us to associate any partners with Allah. So these two prisoners who were with him, they were among the idol worshippers. So he did not offend them directly in the beginning. He portrayed his own story first, that this is what I believe, this is what I have been doing, and I have left these. ذَلِكَ مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْنَا. And this is from the favor of Allah among us, that we follow this religion, we obey one Allah, we believe in one Allah, and we don't associate partners with Him. This is a favor of Allah on us, وَعَلَى النَّاسِ, and all the people. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ. But most of the people are not grateful. I just want to highlight the word, focus on the word فَضْلِ. He is saying that this is from the favors of Allah on us. He is in a prison and he is talking about the favors of Allah. Do you remember when the minister's wife was trying to seduce him? How did he respond to her immediately? He said, مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ رَبِّي أَحْسَنَ مَثْوَاي. Indeed, he is my master, and he has taken very good care of me, gave me a very good dwelling. He was cast into the well, he was snatched away from his parents, he was kidnapped and trafficked to a far nation. But even then, when he is in the house of Aziz, he is remembering how good Allah has kept him. And that is deterring him from committing into the sin. He is recalling the favors of Allah, how well Allah has kept him. When we are in tribulations, when we are in adverse situations, all we can think is of our problems. All we can think how negative things are. But here is Yusuf alayhi salam saying, Ahsana mathwai. He has taken good care of me. And here in prison, he is saying that this is a huge favor of Allah upon us, that we are Muslims. So no matter what situation we are in, this single favor of Allah, that we are Muslims, we have the gift of faith, we have the gift of worshipping one Allah, this should be enough for us to act gratefully, to have that attitude of gratefulness, not to be consumed by all the problems that I have. The only time we feel grateful and we feel happy is when we gain material things, like having a lot of wealth, or let's say, being born into a Muslim family. Is this a bigger favor, or being born as the son of Elon Musk? What do you think is a bigger favor? That you are born a billionaire. You are born a billionaire. Your dad is the owner of Amazon. We having this faith, isn't this more than being a billionaire? So he is consumed by the favors of Allah, and especially the favor of the faith. This should be enough, no matter how wrong things go. This should be enough for us to feel grateful. That at the end of the day, I have a Rabb. I have Allah. I can hope for Jannah, no matter what I lose. So after this introduction, he calls out to them, Ya sahibay sijni, O my fellow inmates. He calls out to them with love. Not Ya ayyuhal kafirun. Ya sahibay sijni. He's calling them with a circumstantial bond that they share. They're both in the prison. They're all in the prison, to allude into affinity, and to call them with love, so that they can, respond to the message. So he says, Ya sahibay sijni. And remember that when he heard the dream, he already knows what the dream means, right? And he knows that one of the guys is going to be crucified. So one of them is going to die very soon. So he also is very keen on getting this message to that guy. He's going to die after a few days. He knows that. So he says, Ya sahibay sijni, O my fellow inmates, أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهُ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ. You tell me, are diverse, different gods, different masters, arbab literally means masters, are different, multiple masters better, or one supreme Allah? Remember, Yusuf a.s. was a slave, right? And these guys, they are probably also slaves. So they know that answering to one master is much easier than having different masters, having to please many people. It is definitely much tougher than having one master. So Yusuf alayhi salam uses that psychology to provoke their thoughts. He says, أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهُ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ. Do you think that having multiple diverse, different masters is better, or one supreme Allah is better? You see, they came to Yusuf alayhi salam seeking some help. And why did they come to Yusuf alayhi salam? Why did they not go to Fulan and someone else? Because of the character of Yusuf alayhi salam. So the first dawah is with our character. The first dawah is with our character. The people around us should feel the warmth, should feel that we are approachable, we are kind, we are helpful. Once they feel that, they will approach us. And when we have that opportunity to help them, we should understand their situation, we should put ourselves in their feet, and maybe also walk a mile in their shoes to understand their experiences, their life views. So he is, after captivating them with the introduction, he is using their psychology to get the message to them. أَأَرْبَابٌ مُتَفَرِّقُونَ خَيْرٌ أَمِ اللَّهُ الْوَاحِدُ الْقَهَّارُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. And then, after that, he puts the message straight. مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا أَسْمَاءً. You don't worship anything other than Allah except mere names. Those don't even exist. إِلَّا أَسْمَاءً سَمَّيْتُمُوهَا. You have named them. مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ بِهَا مِن سُلْطَانٍ. Allah has not revealed any authority regarding that. So he began with his own story, but he clarified his identity. He did not hide his identity. This is also very important. Your identity. You proclaiming your Muslim identity is very important. When you claim that identity, people will know where is this goodness coming from, even if you don't say anything. And then, when you feel that the environment is appropriate, you should not hesitate to make the message clear that what they are believing is wrong. There is no hesitating from truth. ما تعبدون من دونه إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم إن الحكم إلا لله. Judgment is only from Allah. Decision is only from Allah. أمر ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه. He has commanded that you don't worship anyone except Him. ذلك الدين القيم. And that is the right religion. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. But most people don't know. After this da'wah, short, brief da'wah, but very powerful, he interprets their dream. He says, Ya صاحبي السجن, O my fellow inmates, أما أحدكما, as for one of you, he is going to فيسقي ربه خمرا وأما الآخر. As for one of you, he is going to serve wine to his master. And the other one, فيصلب. He is going to be crucified. فَتَأْكُلُ الطَّيْرُ مِنْ رَأْسِهِ. And birds will be pecking his head, eating from his head. قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ. The matter you have been asking for has been decreed. So, after interpreting their dream, one of them is going to be exonerated. He's going to be freed. So he says to that guy who's going to be freed, the prisoner who's going to be freed and serving the king, he says to him, قَالَ الَّذِي ظَنَّ أَنَّهُ نَاجٍ مِّنْهُمَا أُذْكُرْنِي عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ. Can you mention my case to your master? Can you mention my case to the king that I've been unjustly imprisoned? So when he says that, Allah says, فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ. He is released, he goes to serve to the king, but فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ. Shaitan makes him forget to mention this to his master. So as a result, what happens? فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. He is left in the prison for بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. بِضْعَ سِنِينَ means 3 to 9 years. Scholars say that he was left in the prison for 7 years. Can you imagine the only opportunity he had? This guy who had been really grateful to him. He was the perfect guy to explain his case to the king. If you and I were there, it would be our last hope. But for Yusuf alayhi salam, when he made his attempt, he made tawakkul on Allah, not on this guy. He tied his camel. He made the humanly attempt, but he did not rely on him. He was left in prison for 7 years, 7 long years, because that guy forgot. But did he lose hope? No, we'll find out. So after 7 years, what happens? وقال الملك إني أرى سبع بقرات سمان. The king has a dream. The king has a dream. The king says, I am seeing 7 fat cows, يأكلهن سبع عجاف, which are being eaten by 7 lean cows. وسبع سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات. And I see that 7 green ears of grain and 7 dried ears of grain. Ya ayyuhal mala'u. He is in front of his ministers. He said, O my chiefs, aftuni fi ru'yaya. What do you think of my dream? In kuntum li ru'ya ta'burun. If you are among the interpreters, if you can interpret dreams, what do you think of my dreams? So what do they respond? The ministers say, the chiefs say, قَالُوا أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ. These are just confusing dreams. Ru'ya means a meaningful dream. Ahlam means a dream that has no meaning. So they are saying, these are just adghathu ahlam. These are confusing, meaningless dreams. They can't say that we don't know. We can't interpret dreams. But they say that you are wrong. These are meaningless dreams. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. And we don't interpret dreams anyways. الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا. And who was listening to this conversation? Guess who? Who was listening to this conversation? Yaqub. No, Yaqub alayhi salam was not listening. You say. Yes, the prisoner that got released. He was listening to this conversation, and he says, قَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. The one who was released, he remembered Abdul after a long time, and he says, أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. I am going to tell you this interpretation. فَأَرْسِلُونَ. Send me forth. And then he goes to the prison after 7 years. What does he do? Does he apologize to Yusuf? Oh, Yusuf, I forgot. He says, Yusuf ayyuha as-siddiq. Yusuf, oh truthful. Aftina fi sab'i baqaratin siman. Tell us about the 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean cows, and 7 green ears of grain and 7 dried ears of grain. So that la'alli arji'u ila an-nasi la'allahum ya'lamun. So that I may go to the people and they may know. No apologies, no nothing. And what does Yusuf alayhi salam say? You forgot me and now you came here for your promotion? Yusuf alayhi salam does not say that. Nor he says that, okay, I'll tell you, but tell the king to deal with my case first. He doesn't say that. It was once he made that attempt to request his fellow inmate to present his case to the king. But he did not rely on that man. He was relying on Allah. So he will not ask repeatedly. And he will ask, but later on, in a more dignified way. He will not ask this way. And he knows the significance of this dream when it is said to him. So he interprets the dream. He says, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَأَبًا. You will be planting for 7 years continuously. فَمَا حَصَدْتُمْ فَذَرُوهُ فِي سُنْبُلِهِ. Whatever you harvest, keep them in the ears. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. Except the little that you would eat. So you'll be planting for 7 years, and whatever you harvest, eat only a little and save the rest. Why? ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ سَبْعٌ شِدَادٌ. After that, 7 years of drought will come. يَأْكُلْنَ مَا قَدَّمْتُمْ لَهُنَّ. It will consume whatever you saved for the next 7 years. إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تُحْصِنُونَ. Except for the little grains that you save for planting again. They used to save the grains to plant again. Okay. So what does he do? What does this messenger do? What does this guy do? He takes the dream, he takes the interpretation, he goes to the king, narrates to him. Does he tell the king that, by the way, Yusuf had a case, he was alleged with this crime? He doesn't say that. He just takes the interpretation of the dream and presents it to the king. Now the king is curious. This explanation, this interpretation makes sense. Who is this guy? Where did you come with this from? He says, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ. Bring him to me. The king says, فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ الرَّسُولُ. When the envoy of the king came to him. The king personally sent someone now. Not the prisoner who forgot. The king personally sent an envoy. قَالَ ارْجِعْ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ. Now he says, when it was time to help, he helped. But when the king wanted to speak to him and release him, he wanted all his charges cleared first. He says, ارجع إلى ربك. Return to your master. فاسأله ما بال النسوة التي قطعن أيديهن اللاتي قطعن أيديهن. What is the matter? Ask your king, ask your master, what is the matter regarding the women who cut their hands? Very interesting statement. Did Yusuf alayhi salam say that go to the king and tell him that the culprit was the minister's wife, and she put me in prison, and she was a lustful lady? Did he say that? No. He did not even mention the name of the minister's wife. He did not say the wife of Aziz, Imratul Aziz. No. He said it in a very subtle way and respectful way. He did not want to disgrace anyone by name. And he wanted to let the king find out himself. He didn't want to utter anything that might offend anyone. So the king brings the ladies, the ministers, ministers' wives. The king says, قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُنَّ إِذْ رَاوَدتُّنَّ يُوسُفَ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. What is the matter with you when you tried to seduce Yusuf? So the women say, قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ. Allah forbid. قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا عَلِمْنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ سُوءٍ. We have not known anything evil from him. He did not do anything wrong. قَالَتِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ. And the wife of Aziz says there, the minister's wife says there, الْآنَ حَصْحَصَ الْحَقِّ. The truth has come to light now. أَنَا رَاوَدتُّهُ. She finally admits, it was me who tried to seduce him. وَإِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And indeed, he is from the truthful ones. ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمَ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And that is so that he knows, he meaning, some of the Mufassirun has said that this is, I'll only share one opinion. The minister's wife is saying this about his husband, about her husband, that I am saying this so that my husband knows I haven't been unfaithful to him. I did not commit the act. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. And Allah does not guide the plots of those who do khiyana. And she says, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I don't relieve myself of, I don't say that I am free of guilt. وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Indeed, the nafs is always, all the time, ordering to do evil. This is the default state of our nafs. There might be so many things the ladies have said, but Allah chose to quote this. إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. The nafs, the human soul, it is always provoking to do evil. Ordering to do evil. Ammara means orders. It orders us to do evil. إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. Except for the time when you are under the mercy of Allah. 24/7 this happens. Except when we are under the mercy of Allah. If we are sitting here, we are under the mercy of Allah. If we are praying Fajr, we are under the mercy of Allah. If we are not praying Fajr, we are not under the mercy of Allah. If we are involved in any evil acts, we are not in the mercy of Allah. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ أَسْتَخْلِصْهُ لِنَفْسِي. So after this clarification, the king says, bring him to me. I will keep him exclusively to myself. فَلَمَّا كَلَّمَهُ. And when he spoke to him, قَالَ إِنَّكَ الْيَوْمَ لَدَيْنَا مَكِينٌ أَمِينٌ. When he spoke to him, he said, from today, you are highly esteemed to me, and you have a well-placed, trustworthy position to me. We just said a while ago that when Yusuf a.s. told his friend in the prison, fellow inmate in the prison, to remember him to the king, to mention his case to the king, and he forgot. In these sorts of situations, don't we fall in despair? That it was our only hope. This guy could have done so much for me, but he is so selfish, he forgot about me. But imagine if he did not forget, and this case was presented to the king right then and there. After he got out of the prison, he presented it to the king, and the king released him. Would he have gotten this position that he has with the king right now after interpreting the dream? No. It was out of the divine wisdom of Allah that Allah let Yusuf alayhi salam wait in the prison for years. Even though there was some fault of shaitan, there was fault of this guy who was supposed to help him, the faults were there. But their faults didn't hamper the divine wisdom of Allah. Allah was with him. So even if his fellow inmate was not with him, did not comply to his request, it doesn't mean that Allah left his side. This also tells us, what we have to take away from this is that sometimes we have to go through what we don't like. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, "Inna fi sabri wa'alam anna fi sabri ala ma takrah wa'alam anna fi sabri ala ma takrah khayran kathira." Verily know that having patience in what you don't like, there is a lot of goodness. وَأَنَّ الصَّبْرَ وَأَنَّ النَّصْرَ مَعَ الصَّبْرِ. And the victory is with sabr. وَأَنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. And with ease, with hardships comes ease. Yusuf alayhi salam says, قَالَ جَعَلْنِي عَلَى خَزَائِنِ الْأَرْضِ إِنِّي حَفِيظٌ عَلِيمٌ. Put me on charge of the storehouses of the earth. Make me the finance minister. Inni hafidhun alim. Indeed, I am a knowledgeable keeper. So this from here we can also learn that even though you should not take responsibility from your own, but there might be times when you feel that no one else can do this job better than you. Yusuf alayhi salam knows that the country is going to be in a crisis in the next few years, and if he does not take this responsibility, someone else will, and they might not be able to handle it very well. So, in this point, he takes this responsibility from his own, and he presents his credentials. He says that I'm knowledgeable, and you can trust on me. So it's okay to sometimes what may seem to be self-praising, it's not actually self-praising, the situation requires it. That might be a necessity sometimes. And the final two ayah, we will end with this. Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ يَتَبَوَّأُ مِنْهَا حَيْثُ يَشَاءُ. And this is how we placed Yusuf, established Yusuf on the land. يَتَبَوَّأُ مِنْهَا حَيْثُ يَشَاءُ. He can settle wherever he wants. Does any one of you recall where this ayah was mentioned before? We have established Yusuf in the land. This was mentioned when Yusuf alayhi salam was brought to Egypt and brought to the minister's house for the first time, when he was given a room to live. That small room that he was given to live, right after that Allah made this comment, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ. And this is how we established Yusuf. Allah said there, this is how we established Yusuf on the land. وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ. And to teach him from the interpretation of dreams, interpretation of speeches. When he came as a slave in the house of Aziz, it didn't look like establishment. It didn't look like that he's being a minister. But the knowledge he has now, the knowledge he requires to be a minister, where did it start? It started from the minister's house. Allah was teaching him throughout. Allah was making him go through this course. But it didn't look like that. Allah was establishing him all throughout the time, all through these years, 10 years, 20 years. Even though he was a slave, Allah mentions that this is an establishment of Yusuf on the earth, even though it seems that he is just a servant, just a slave. Now, نُصِيبُ بِرَحْمَتِنَا مَن نَشَاءُ. We shower whoever we want with our mercy. وَلَا نُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And we never let the rewards of the muhsineen, the good doers, go to waste. When someone is a muhsin, when someone is a good doer, when someone fears Allah, they might feel sometimes that they are missing out. They might have to go through tribulations. They might have to let go of things out of fear of Allah. They might feel that they are not making the most out of the opportunities. But Allah says, we will not let the rewards of the muhsineen be wasted even a little bit. Not even a bit. And we will shower them with mercy. Nusibi rahmatina man nasha, whoever we want. No matter how unimaginable it may seem to be under the mercy of Allah in this situation, we can shower anyone at any situation, at any point. And what mercy is Allah talking about here? Mercy in the Jannah? No. Mercy in this world. A mercy, a special mercy, a shower of mercy that will raise our status in this world before the next, in unimaginable ways. Before this day happened, before 1 week of this interpretation of dream, did Yusuf a.s. know what was going to happen? He did not know it was 1 week remaining, but he had that hope in him. وَلَأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ أَكْبَرُ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. The final statement. You see this status of Yusuf? This is a reward. This is a reward of his good doings. But the reward of Akhirah is much, much greater. You think this is a great reward? The reward of the Akhirah is much greater. For who? لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ. Who believed and they constantly feared Allah. When you constantly fear Allah, it might take a while, but Allah's mercy will come to you in this world and the next. May Allah make us among the muhsineen, among the muttaqeen. May Allah make us among those who take reminders and act upon them. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.